Hello, Kim Dodsworth, Queensland storyteller. Today a change of pace. Instead of the usual short story, I've got 3 beautifully crafted essays for you. That's right, essays. You take a topic and you write about it. Essay 1 by Margaret Atwood is Warlords. Essays 2 and 3 by Annie Collins of Melbourne are titled Christmas Contribution and Stale Friendships. Pull up a chair, sit yourself down, and just enjoy. Essay 1, Warlords, by Margaret Atwood. To be a warlord. That's a boy's dream everywhere. Point a finger, say bang, and thousands die. Most of these sharpshooters grow up to become dentists, but if you're born under the rule of a warlord, you have only 3 futures: to be a warrior and die in the service of the warlord, to depose the warlord and become the warlord yourself, to be one who, by definition, cannot be a warrior, a woman, a priest, a one-legged tailor. But you're shut up inside the warlord's territorial periphery, which at times feels like a protecting wall and at other times like a dungeon. In there you can live what is thought of, in there, as a normal life, as long as you wave the warlord's flag, pay the warlord's taxes, bribe the warlord's henchmen, grovel at the feet of the warlord's relatives, and avoid all negative comments about the warlord himself, as he is known to be touchy. The warlord sits at the centre of his own power, inert but potent. Sycophants spoon food and good news into him, vulture handlers handle his pet vultures, ruby counters count his rubies, beautiful damsels lick his toes. Concentric rings of warriors encircle him. The outermost ring is most at risk. The men there bristle with hardware. They look like many-bladed jackknives, the kind with the corkscrew, the nail file, and the awl. And it's they who take the first risks and are ground under the giant clanking wheels of the invading warlords. The next ring is made of slippery defences, labyrinthine corridors, trenches filled with pointed stakes, ambushes involving falling boulders and red-hot coals, very deadly, but after a while, not enough. The warriors who work this ring obey one single command: hold the gate. Hand-picked worldwide warriors form the inner circle. They're mercenaries, because you can't trust volunteers. They are the bodyguards. They guard the body. They're supposed to guard it with their deaths. They aren't supposed to live to tell the tale, but some do. The tale is about how, despite their best efforts, or anyway their second best, the warlord's forces were finally overcome. How his cave, his tree, his tower, his castle, his city, his weapons factories, his prisons, his billiard rooms went up in flames. How the invading army drank up all his champagne and took baths in his bathtubs. How his concubines were gang-raped on the rooftops, his wives dismembered, his children blinded, to the delighted howls of the crowd, who now claim never to have liked the warlord anyway. How he himself was roasted, skewered, blown up, beheaded, hanged upside down, forced into bankruptcy. How his statues were toppled and sold as scrap, or else as kitschy souvenirs. What point in continuing after that, with being a hand-picked worldwide warrior? No future in it, no prestige. Scramble out of the uniform, the trappings, the trap, run for your life, through the dark forest, across the prickly desert, up the icy mountains, leaving blood footprints. When you've reached neutral territory, when you've stashed the loot hoisted from the warlord's mansion, well, he didn't have much use for it anymore, did he? And when you finally have a spare moment to sit down at a cafe with a cool drink, you rethink your occupation. But your occupation's gone. You can't get another. Once you've fought for a warlord, any warlord, even a warlord committee, you can't forget. You can't learn anything else. Nothing can replace the adrenaline, the hellish but enlivening nightmares. Nothing, let's face it, is nearly as much fun as being a warlord's warrior. Fun taken in the broader sense of the word, you understand. Look over there. See that ropey-muscled old guy raking the lawn, the other one sweeping the sidewalk, the third hauling the trash? Warlord survivors, all of them. They're branded with invisible tattoos. Behind their eyes, the embers smoulder. They're waiting. They're ready for the call. Essay 2, Christmas Contribution by Annie Collins of Melbourne. I've always liked the feel of blood, the way it slips like ruby oil between your fingers, tiny platelets floating in the viscous gravy of life. But it's the taste I crave, first sweet, then pungently metallic and salty. If I could, I'd bathe in it, but for my own sanity, I curb my unearthly desires and limit myself to a tiny taste of fresh-picked succulence each day. Today is different. I can tell from Angela's scent that beneath her translucent skin, syrup flows, red as a summer pomegranate in full flush and sweet as the purest of honeys. She's a virgin to the process and nervous of my questioning, a banal yet necessary formality for the sake of purity. Humans are so susceptible. AIDS, mad cow disease, influenza, hepatitis. Angela promises she has no such afflictions, and I know her words are true, for as soon as I prick her, a luscious drop, bright and rosy, blooms on her fingertip. The intensity of its scent nearly drives me to reveal myself. It's all I can do to refrain from bowing my head and sucking it directly from her digit. Instead, I wipe her clean and tuck away the small square of cherry-stained gauze. I lead her to the clinic area, my senses attuned and pining for her fluid. She relaxes back while I soothe her through the procedure, instructing her to pump her hand while I coo praise for her generosity. You're saving lives, I tell my dearest Angela. Shift over, I leave, guilt pricking at my conscience. A solitary bag of death-defying goodness rests in my satchel. It is Christmas after all, and charity begins at home. Essay 3, Stale Friendships, also by Annie Collins. 4 p.m. and the strip is deserted. You're squatting at the front of your shop. Well, not your shop, but the shop you toil in, the Aussie disposal store that sits between the Flag of India restaurant, with its deep purple and gold overhead sign, where you buy too much roti bread with chicken curry that's cheap and causes you indigestion, but you can't help yourself as you're addicted to the sweet, nutty taste. And on the other side, McNabb's solicitor's office, its signage crisp green and its lettering bold and to the point. Your dirt brown t-shirt almost blends with the camouflage gear in your window, but your bright yellow sneakers, rimmed in white rubber, are a stark contrast. A crisscross pattern is being imprinted on your back as you prop against a wire bin stuffed with army disposal equipment. Your arm is extended towards a magpie, hovering a metre or so away. Your hand, calloused from carrying heavy stock, is sleeved in a woolen, fingerless glove and is proffering a piece of bread. The bird is ignoring you, so you call softly, and it swivels its head, black eyes suspicious. It steps towards you, stretching its beak to steal the morsel from your fingers. It pecks and grabs, twiggy black legs working like pistons as it scurries away with its bounty. You smile, spotting another magpie nearby. A loaf of stale bread rests in your lap. You found it in the tiny space called a kitchen at the murky rear of your shop. You crunch off another piece, dropping flakes like dandruff onto your jeans on the footpath. You hold your hand out again and call. The second magpie responds by trotting closer. You register a rumbling sound and lift your head. You rise, shifting back on your heels, and almost fall backwards as a woman with a pram rushes towards you. The birds flap and take to the sky. Rubber wheels thwack the creases in the paved footpath. You shade the late afternoon sun from your squinting eyes. The magpies are balancing on the khaki and olive canopy above your shop. You squat again, hoping they'll return. But the birds have been distracted. They fly towards an outdoor table 4 doors down, where a feast of abandoned pizza crusts awaits them. The birds scrabble for a foothold on the plastic-covered red and white tablecloth as a waiter rushes forward. He flicks a starched napkin at them, hissing and cursing at the black and white scavengers. Then he turns and glares at you. You know what he's thinking. You slink back inside the dimness of your shop. Well, now it's time to go. I'm sure you've enjoyed those 3 masterful essays by Margaret Atwood and Annie Collins. I'll be back again this time next week with more writing of quality just for you. I'm Kim Dodsworth, Queensland Storyteller.